Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm Ljudmila and I come from Estonia. I'm a teacher and I work in Tallinn Health Care College. And today I will show our research result about nurses, main problems and solution working in COVID department. Oops. Now. Nurses, okay, they will feel. How I do it, the whole screen is show. Thank you. This way only. Yes. Okay. And nurses play a very important role in the fight against COVID pandemic. And if you know what happened with nurses when they work in a crisis situation like pandemic, we know how we can help it, because maybe you know so many nurses left from hospital, and very high number of nurses have problem with health after COVID pandemic. In Estonian, we have only a very small research number which describes this situation. And if we look what happened in literature, we see that the heavy workload of nursing, emotional stress, and maybe you remember the first wave of COVID caused very difficult situation for patient, because Delta COVID is very cause very difficult critical condition, and we had so many patients with this condition, and work load was very high and we don't have nurses. And if we use models, and model says that individuals for solve stress use two type way. For example, problem center or emotion based coping strategy. And what it means, if individual feel that this situation can change, they looking for so many information, they communicate with experts, they do something and they solve this problem. And the second emotion-based strategy is individual, if they feel that this situation they cannot change, they go out. They have emotion, but they do nothing. And very interesting, how feel our nurses and what they do during this pandemic. Of course, our aim of research, we investigate the stressful situation during pandemic in nurses who work in Estonia, and we address this aim. We need two questions. First, what occupational stressor do nurses in Estonia face during the COVID pandemic? And second, what strategy can be used to reduce stress among nurses in Estonia? And our study design. This present research is a qualitative study based on semi-structural interviews. And we use Karasek model, and Karasek model explain if in the workplace workers have very high responsibility and they have very high allow to do decisions, they very happy worker. If worker have very high responsibility and they don't do make decisions, these workers have very big stress. If we want that our nurses work in the happy environment. We have two situations where nursing have high responsibility and high allowed to make decisions. And okay, and I describe in this slide how we collected information about stress situation from nurses, and we had so many questions. For example, what were most stressful situation you encountered while working during the COVID pandemic? What kind of problems you had? How they solved? And in what way could you avoid this situation in the future? What was the result of this situation? And we choose only nurses who has diploma, who work in COVID pandemic department full time, at least for 3 months. And of course, participants agreed to, was ready to take part in study. Of course, we use all ethic rules where we collected data. Okay, and data we collected 4 months from June 2021 and to September. And total we had information from 16 nurses. And after authors do not change the experience of the respondents and show them in they are. Of course, we use special device for voice recorder, and a maximum of 2 interviews we had per day. And a few examples for problem caused occupational stress. For example, our nurses describe they don't have time for eating, for drinking, and this is for us means like a lack of rest time for eating and drinking, and the categories inadequate management, for example. And second, very big groups, what we want to get from nursing, how they think, how we can solve this situation. And for example, one nurse answer, teamwork must be better, and for us means categories social support from management and team problem-oriented coping. And our results. The results of the research describe the experience of work-related stress among nurses in COVID world. The analysis showed that the main theme was workload of nurses, and we had 3 categories of job demands. Inadequate management, the very important was for our nurses. Insufficient support, ethical dilemmas, because if we have a very high work load, it's very difficult to choose who from patient can help from me, because all patient was very difficult, critical situation. Okay, and for example, inadequate management. Nurses describe poor management or work organization regarding rest breaks. Nurses report not enough recovery time. It's very important. And of course, poor preparation for working in COVID. We have had so many patients in COVID department, and we need nurses, and our management get nurses and push the COVID department. And in COVID department, nurses can see very difficult condition patient who has problem with breathing. It's very difficult condition, and they saw that the patient for treatment patient, we use CPAP. It's a very difficult device, and if you know exactly how you use, patient can be died. It's very high stress situation. Okay, and lack of personal protective equipment, of course. So most of nurses have to wash some equipment because we didn't have it, and very crazy situation. Of course, lack of workload regulation, physical and mental, from overload. And the second, the solution offered by nurses for solving work stress causing problem. All our nurses use problem-centered strategy, and they offer the coping strategy describe the upper level theory social support management. Improving team collaboration is very important, regulation work process, and mentoring new nurses. It's very important in the first or second day. Workload regulation, of course, improving nurses' awareness and preparedness. And this is one example how nurse describes this situation. And you can see in the picture, in COVID department, we had help from military, from a person who never worked in hospital. And they study all these activities during work in our hospital. Okay, discussion. The finding of this study say that nurses working in COVID works experience several job demands that affected their work and well-being. Findings highlight the importance of addressing job demands and providing good support and resources of nurses working in COVID. Conflicts among staff were mainly caused by lack of emotional intelligence, person traits, workplace-related aspect, unclear role at work, and poor communication. Karasek model suggests that a working environment with high demands and high direction regarding decision-making allows employees to be active and highly motivated. High demands and low description result is too much in occupational stress because our nurses didn't have enough information. They couldn't do decisions in this situation. Constant inclusion, information sharing, and reasoning are very important to both regarding decision making. And the study provides important insight into the occupational stressors faced by nurses during COVID pandemic in Estonia. The findings suggest that nurses have so many challenges. Heavy workload, not enough rest period, and poor management, which lead to physical and psychological problems such as backache, headache, and burnout. And of course, practical consideration. Enough rest period, reduce workload, improving management, better communication and teamwork, better preparation for working with COVID patients, effective stress management strategy and individual and group-based psychological interventions, mentorship, training, and psychological support. Thank you for attention. It was my first presentation in my life. Thank you.